Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and I've got a book haul video for you today. I have lost track of how many times I have filmed this intro. It started out, it was going to be just some books that I bought in the month of October, and I filmed some footage, and then I bought some more books before I could get it uploaded. And so I filmed another intro, and I said, okay, this is going to be my, October book haul. And knowing that I still had some more book shopping to do in October, I thought, well, I'll just hold off and I'll add that footage in and then I'll get it uploaded. Well, it never happened. And then November came and I had a birthday and I did some book shopping. And then I found out about the Read What You Own challenge, and I decided I was going to slow down my book shopping, and I still had a couple of other book sales to go to, so that didn't stop me from buying books, at least to sell and whatnot. But even those newer acquisitions, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to keep and what I'm not going to keep, so they're just sitting in bags. So basically, perfectionism has paralyzed me from just getting this book haul video done. So what I'm going to show you today is the old footage. This is basically my October book haul. This is the books that I bought in October, and I have not bought a whole lot since then that I'm going to keep, but I'll have to just do that separately because at this point, I think I've got enough footage for probably a video that's too long at this point. Anyway, then I am not including in this video, though, the Christian fiction or any Christian books that I purchased during this time period, because I got several, and some were from my church library, and I've already taken those up there. I've already filmed some of that footage too, but I'm going to put that in a separate video. So for now, this is everything I bought in the month of October, except for Christian books, and I might come back on at the end and sign off if I've forgotten something, but otherwise I'll just let my old footage sign off, and I'll hope to see you soon. Thank you so much, BookTube. Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and I've got a book haul to share with you today. At first, I was just going to do everything all in one video, and I brought it all in here, and I got to looking at it, and I realized that the majority of it is Christian fiction. And I think I'm going to do a whole separate video just on that. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything else. There's a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of romance, a little bit of cozy mystery. So it'll just be a nice little range of things. There's actually not any middle grade books. Well, no, there's one. A couple of YA books, even a Western. So let's just get started, and then stay tuned for a video all about the Christian fiction that I purchased. So I've spent a good bit of time over the last couple of weeks book shopping in all the local places. I've even called around to some of the places I couldn't get to. The only place that's local-ish that I didn't make it to is all the bookstores north of Orlando. And I eventually, the one book that I was searching for, I ended up just buying it on eBay because I wanted to go ahead and get it. But I enjoyed, of course, it was a good excuse to, it's always a good excuse to shop for books. The book I was looking for is a book for our church library to finish out a series that lots of people want to read. Several, a few people. More than two want to read. And so I had been searching for that one particular book, and that's what I ended up ordering on eBay. But I'll talk more about that when I do the Christian fiction video. Meanwhile, I always have my eyes out for various things that I'm looking for and collecting, and some things I start collecting that I don't even know I'm collecting until I see them and I think, oh, I want to collect that. Y'all have this problem? So let's just get started. Let me just start with the cozy mysteries. Now, this one I may not keep. In fact, I was thinking of putting it in my eBay store because I don't know if I'm interested in this one. Honestly, the cover is kind of a, I hate to use the word turn off, but honestly, I'm just not drawn in by this cover. These sort of cartoon type covers are not appealing to me. I know that's really trendy right now, but they're just not appealing to me. This is Nickeled and Dimed to Death. It is book 2 in the Devereaux's Dime Store Mysteries by Denise Swanson. So if you have read any of this series, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know if I should keep it and read it, if I should look for the first one, or what. One series that I am reading, and I don't think I have this one, is Wedding Cake Crumble by Jen McKinley. This is part of the Cupcake Bakery Mysteries. And then my sister just recently read the first book of this series. It's called Murder in the Mystery Suite. This one I'm not sure what number it is, Murder in the Reading Room by Ellery Adams. And I have read that first one. In fact, I own it. And I thought I had others. And I said, hey, if you can't get them from your library, I think I have some. Well, I looked and I can't find any others except for the first one. But now I have this one. So, Charlotte, if you're watching this video and you can't get a hold of Murder in the Reading Room, then you can borrow that one, because I haven't read them yet except for the first one. Another mystery that is a cozy is a hardcover of book 5, I think, of the Puzzle Lady series by Parnell Hall. I've been collecting this series in hardcover. I do already have this in paperback, and I was wanting to replace it, and I found this at a library sale just the other day, and I was like, oh, yay, I can replace this. I can pull out that paperback. Now I just have one book, and it's either book 1 or book 2, that I only have the paperback, and I would like to replace it with the hardcover. And then I'll have almost that whole series in hardcover. I'm still missing a couple later on down in the series, but I'll have the first several. It's a series that I've collected, haven't read the first one at all, but one of these days I'll get to it. Then I've got a mystery that is not cozy. This series is rather gritty, but I found this super cheap somewhere, and I haven't really been collecting the Jack Reacher books. I've just been reading them from the library. In fact, I listen to them on audio if I can, but the last two, books 4 and 5, I've not been able to get on audio, and I've just read them in print. They are unputdownable. This one is called Bad Luck and Trouble, and I think it's book 9 in the Jack Reacher order, which is the publication order, I believe. I've got 2 other mysteries here that I'm going to go ahead and show you in this haul, and I might show them again in the Christian haul. One of them is definitely has been published by a Christian publisher. They're by the same author, and the other one, I don't know if it is a Christian one or not. The reason I want to go ahead and show you this is because this is book 2 in the Thoroughly Southern Mystery Series by Patricia Sprinkle, and books 3 through 10 of that series have been published by a mainstream publisher, but the first 2 books were published by a Christian publisher, and they were originally called, I think, the McLaren Yarbrough Mysteries. So I've listened to books 1 and 2 on audio, and one of you, I think it was Helen Craig, that sent me the first book, and thank you again, Helen, for that. That was so wonderful. So now I have found book 2, so I have the complete series, and I almost didn't get it because I had to pay a little more for it than I wanted to. It was at a used bookstore, not the one where I work, but one that's up near Orlando. And I thought, where am I ever going to find this again? I need to just get it to complete my set. So I did. Anyway, and then somewhere else, I found another book by her. Now, she has also written at least 1 or more Christian nonfiction books, but this one is a mystery book. I know she's got another series, and I've got a few paperbacks from one series. I'm not sure if this is from that series or not. But anyway, this is called Death on the Family Tree. And like I said, I don't know if this is considered a Christian book or not. It's not real obvious who the publisher is. Looks like Avon. This one is published by Avon. So anyway, thought I'd go ahead and show it to you in this haul. And I may, since she does write some Christian books, I may show it again in the other haul. So if you watch both videos, my apologies for the redundancy. All right, I mentioned that I had a couple of romances, and they are from the Kavanaugh series by Marie Ferrarella. This one, I think I got for like $1.25, or I probably wouldn't have gotten it because it is one of the more recent ones. It was published in March of 2022, and it's Kavanaugh Justice, The Baby Trail. Mainly, I just don't want to keep getting, the books that are like 30 and over until I get the books that are earlier in the series. And this one, I haven't looked up the number yet, but this one is from 2010. So I'm definitely getting closer to the earlier books in the series with this one. This is Kavanaugh Reunion, and it says that it is the author's 200th book. Wow. And that was in September of 2010. So, wow. Again, I have mentioned this before. I feel compelled to mention this because I know y'all expect me. I talk a lot about Christian fiction. I read a lot of Christian fiction. These are not Christian fiction. They are probably over the steam limit that I generally set for myself. But somebody gave me a start of them a while back, and I still haven't gotten around to reading one because I've been looking around, hoping to find the first book in the series. It's on ebook on Hoopla, I know. At some point, I'll get around to reading that first book, and if I hate it, I will just lot up the ones that I've collected, and I'll list them in my eBay store. So I haven't lost anything by continuing to gather them, and I generally only get them if they're very inexpensive. All right, so I got a couple of YA books that I actually already have this whole series in paperback, but I found these in gorgeous hardcover, beautiful condition, and they were less than $1. So I had to pick them up. Stars Above is, I believe, one of the short story collections, and then Cress is, I think, book 3. Both of these are from the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to find the rest of them in hardcover. Like I said, I've got the whole series in paperback. I might put these in my eBay store, but I kind of want to keep them. I love this series, and I have kind of started rereading it like a couple years back, more than a couple probably, and I've only reread Cinder and Scarlet. I'm ready, I think, to reread Cress, and I've never read Winter. So, and I guess I've not read Stars Above either. I've read Fairest, and I've read Cress, but on audio. So I wanted to reread them in print since I own them, and so I've reread Cinder and Scarlet in print. So now I'm ready for Cress. Okay. The only YA book that I got, and I went ahead and picked this up, even though I just finished last month rereading this whole series, I do want to read this, and then I will probably add this to the lot of my whole set that I'm going to be listing on eBay, hopefully sometime soon. This is the Spiderwick Chronicles Notebook for Fantastical Observations, and it is a book that you could write in, but it also has some text, and it just looks really cute. It's not written in, and so I will read it and then add it to the books that I haven't yet listed. I haven't listed those because over the last couple of months I've been working on listing cozy mysteries, and I like to sort of work in batches, so everything else just kind of gets shoved aside while I'm working on one particular genre, and then when I finish that genre and get caught up, then I'll pick another genre to work on, or I'll do some miscellaneous things before I get back to like romances or whatever. I also have a Star Wars book. I just got this today in our little free library that's downtown, and I have not ever read any Star Wars books, unless you count The Strange Case of Origami Yoda, that whole series. But I have a bunch. In fact, I've got some really old vintage Star Wars books, and I have looked at them and I think, well, I should read these, but then I didn't really understand, other than the novelizations that are based on the actual movies, I didn't really understand how some of them, like there's an old Han Solo series, I didn't really know how that fit into the whole Star Wars timeline. But recently my husband and I, in fact most of this year, we've been watching all of the Star Wars in timeline order on Disney Plus. And even though I've been a Star Wars fan, really a low-key Star Wars fan, since I saw Star Wars A New Hope in the movie theater 3 times in 1977, I've never really understood the politics of it. And now that we have finished watching the Clone Wars and all of that, and right now we're in Star Wars Rebels, there's a few other things in between from, episodes 1 through 3, plus the Clone Wars, up to where we are now. I understand the politics of the whole universe of it so much better now. So I think by the time we are finished watching everything, I will want to go and start reading some Star Wars books, because I will have a better grasp on just, the whole timeline of Star Wars. So I'm really excited about that. So I found this one, Revenge of the Sith, and I thought, I'm just going to pick it up. So this is obviously a novelization of one of the movies, which I've got novelizations of episodes 4, 5, and 6. So why not? Okay, then I've got a couple of what I would call women's fiction type books, and I will probably show this in both hauls, because this is not technically a Christian book, but I think it appeals to the same audience. But the other day I was at book club, and I got there a little bit early, and the Friends of the Library president was in the Friends room, and so I asked her if I could come in and see if they had the book I was looking for the church library. And while I was in there, she said, "Oh, I've got another Miss Read book for you," and it was this one, Peaceful Retirement. Now, I do have it in hardcover, like an older hardcover edition, but I wasn't going to turn it down at all. I mean, 50 cents. It's a deal. So I'm going to add this to my extras, and yeah, I'm probably going to eventually list those in my eBay store, but I am not opposed to sharing some with some of you if you're looking for any in particular that that you still need, for your collection of misread books. I also picked up this one. It's a little bit damaged, but I feel like I have heard someone on BookTube talking about this one, and honestly, I can't remember if they liked it or didn't like it. I went on Goodreads to see if my Goodreads friends liked it or didn't like it, and it was kind of a mixed bag, so I don't know. This is The Bookish Life of Nina Hill by Abby Waxman. It sounds good, but again, I'm real leery of these cartoon-like covers, because they end up being a little too new adult, modern for my taste. So I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy that one. And then at the bookstore where I work the other day, I saw this on the shelf, and I had recently brought home another book by this author that I also found at the bookstore where I work. It was probably brought in by the same person. I guess you say her name, Mary Simses. I don't know if it's Simsies or Simses. This is The Rules of Love and Grammar, and she just has such beautiful covers. The one that I got recently, I showed in the last haul, is The Wedding Thief, and the one that first drew me to this author, which I haven't read this one either, but I love this cover, The Irresistible Blueberry Bake Shop and Cafe. I'm drawn to books that have something to do with a diner or a cafe, and this cover is just beautiful. And I read somewhere, I think on one of these other books, that this book has been made into a Hallmark movie. So all the more reason to think that I will probably enjoy not only it, but all of these. And then one last one that I don't know if I'm going to read this one or not, at least not right away. I've been collecting the first Mountain Man series by William W. Johnstone, and I picked this up somewhere, and either my phone was charging or I didn't take time to look up to see if this was from the first Mountain Man series or the last Mountain Man series, because there's 2 different Mountain Man series. This is from the last Mountain Man series. Eventually, I might read these. I'm not sure what book this is. This is somewhere early in the series. It might even be book 2 or 3. Anyway, this is Trail of the Mountain Man, Boomtown Bloodlust, and it's by William W. Johnstone. So at some point, I might read that series, but I'm really hooked on the Preacher series, which is the first Mountain Man series, and I'm definitely going to continue reading those. So if this is as good as those, then eventually I will get to these, but I'm not going to mix it up at this point. So I might let this one go for now, or I might keep it. I don't know. Who knows? Okay, so I showed you one Star Wars book in the previous clip, and then I went back to the thrift store, one of the thrift stores, where I had picked up a stack of books, and I found that many more almost. I guess, I bought a nice big stack, and that gave them room to put out more, and they put out some good ones. So I need to just check that thrift store like once a week because they have had some really good books lately. Now, their book prices are $1 for hardcovers and I think 50 cents for soft covers, unless otherwise priced. So I did pick up one, and when I got it to the register, I thought maybe it was just like a price sticker from some previous thing, but he said, no, that's our price. So I did pay up for one of them. And also some of the books that I bought there are books that I knew we could use at the store where I work. Anyway, let me show you these Star Wars books. This was my most exciting find. And I think I feel like I've said this in another video. I guess I said it in the previous clip. I have not read any Star Wars books, and I want to, but I think I didn't really know initially if I was going to be confused by how it all fit together, what comes first and all that. But since my husband and I have been watching Star Wars in timeline order, it's so much more clear to me. So I feel like I can read these books and get it, and I can know exactly where they fit in. So I don't know if this was published before or after the series was announced. Oh, way before. I think this is 2016. Yeah. So here's a book called Ahsoka. Now, we have not gotten to the Ahsoka series. We know who Ahsoka is because she's a big part of the Clone Wars. And when I first heard they were going to have an Ahsoka series, I thought, oh, I bet that comes right after the Clone Wars. No, it doesn't come until like way in the timeline. So she does appear in Star Wars Rebels, which we're watching right now. She looks totally different. And I looked up, why does she look so different? And the excuse was that she's aged, but no, she just looks like they used a totally different model for her. She doesn't look like I think she would look, just older. But anyway, not up to me. But I feel like the actress who plays Ahsoka in the series, because I've seen the trailers, I feel she looks more like Ahsoka did in the Clone Wars than she does in Star Wars Rebels. Anyway, got a book called Ahsoka. And this one, I'm not sure about it either, but it's called Lost Stars, Journey to Star Wars, The Force Awakens, by Claudia Gray. Oh, I didn't say who Ahsoka is by. It is by E.K. Johnston. So this one is pretty thick, and it was published in 2015. It says it takes place 8 years after the fall of the Old Republic. So, yeah. And then this one is the one I paid up for. I had to pay $4.99 for it. It turns out the guy told me that these actually should have been priced up too, but since they weren't, he gave them to me for $1. So yay! But this one I paid $5 for. It's totally worth it. And at some point, I might decide to sell all of these on eBay, but not right now. I want to read these. This one is Star Wars Dooku Jedi Lost Scribd by Cavan Scott. So it's a script, and I don't know if it's something that's actually been done and released in in its adaptation or what. So anyway, it looked interesting. And then this one is a nonfiction book, and this I almost didn't get it, but I thought no, because these are some questions that I've had in my own mind. What if Star Wars were real? These people are out in space and they act like they're not afraid at all. Flying in space is just like flying in the air. And also these people have so many ways they just seem fearless when they're flying in these ships and things, whether they're on a planet or in space or whatever. And so this is the science of Star Wars. It says an astrophysicist's independent examination of space travel, aliens, planets, and robots as portrayed in the Star Wars films and books. It's by Gene Cavellos, author of The Science of the X-Files, which I wouldn't mind reading either. My husband and I were big X-Files fans whenever that was, when that was airing on television. Anyway, that sounds super interesting. And then one other little Star Wars thing, I got this at the bookstore where I work. I think they had me pay $1 for it. Someone brought this in, and it's called Cosmic Shells Collector Album. And it looks like on the back it came from Winn-Dixie. We have a Winn-Dixie. I don't go in there very much. I really should though. So this is just a collector album of these kind of octagon shaped cards, collector cards, and then there's also some artwork too. But anyway, I was just intrigued by it, and I said, I'm picking that. I'm buying that. So yay. Another fantasy book that I also got at the store where I work is book 3 in the Dorothy Must Die series. I have the first 2 in hardcover, and there's still a 4th one that I don't have. And now I do have 2 of the story collections in paperback. I have so many Oz books I need to read. I'm currently right now listening to the original Wonderful Wizard of Oz again for the children's classic literature book club that's hosted by Elizabeth Tyree. And I want to read all the Oz books. I think I've only ever read like maybe 3 of them. And I want to read the Gregory Maguire books. I want to read these books, all the Oz things I want to read. I don't know when I'm going to get to them, but at some point, hopefully I will. And I found this, I think, at the same thrift store that I was originally talking about earlier. This is an edition of my favorite book of all time, other than, of course, the Bible. Fanny Flagg's A Redbird Christmas. I don't know if you can see behind me, I have several editions of this book, including, I have it on CD. I don't think I have it on cassette, but anytime I find a new edition of the book that I don't have, I'm compelled to pick it up because it's my favorite book of all time. This is a mass market paperback book, and it's so pretty. And look on the back. There's a couple of Santas. Anyway, I have said before, this is a book you do not need to wait till Christmas to read. It starts at Christmas and it ends at Christmas, but there's a whole year in between. But Christmas is coming, and if you've never read this book, it is my favorite book, my favorite fiction book of all time. I highly recommend it to you. I think it has everything. Now, having built it up so much, I do know I've recommended it to people, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, it was okay." I think it was something more my mom would like. So that's what a younger friend of mine said, and that's probably true. Maybe it's because I'm older. I don't know, but there's a wide range of characters, but the main characters are older, but there are some young people in it too. There's a little bit of suspense. There's just it's just so good. Y'all just read it. If you've never read A Redbird Christmas, please read it. It's so good. And then I did not even realize this was a book. I thought this was maybe just a movie, and maybe this book was a novelization of it, but I think I heard someone tell me recently, or someone talking about it, that A Princess Bride did actually first start out as a book, and then they made a movie of it. And I found this somewhere, and I thought, oh, I need to get that because I've never read it. I've seen the movie, of course, but never read the book. All right, I've got, I guess, just one nonfiction book. This I also picked up at the store where I work. This is Thinking in Pictures by Temple Grandin. Temple Grandin is a college professor who has autism, and I've seen the movie about her, and I just think it's fantastic. She is just such an incredible individual. Everything she's been able to accomplish, I just think is amazing, and I would love to read the book. Now, I feel like I have listened to a book on audio, but I don't think it was this one. It might have been. I'm not sure, but I don't have a copy of it. At least I don't think I do. I might need to check. But I don't know if she's written more than one book or not. I need to check my Goodreads. Anyway, I bought this because I'm very impressed by her, and I wanted to have it. I got a few middle grade books, a couple of books by Gary Paulson. I don't know anything about this one. I'm not even sure if this one is a middle grade book. It might be. It's called The Transl Saga. And I sort of collect Gary Paulson books, but I've started like not keeping them. I just have them, and if I find one that I haven't read, I'll buy it and then I'll read it. But I don't love all of them. I love the Brian saga a lot. But I found another one here called The Quilt. This is actually an arc of it. I think I got this at the store where I work too. And then I got this kind of to maybe read with Emily. I'm not sure. We've never seen the Paddington movie, and I don't know. I saw it and I thought, I think think I'm going to get that. I might end up just putting it in a little free library or something, but it's A Bear Called Paddington by Michael Bond, and I would like to read more chapter books with Emily, and I thought this might be a good one. I also picked up a Muppets book somewhere that's a chapter book, and I thought I had it in here, but I don't. I might just show you a picture of it later as I'm editing. It's a chapter book that something about the Muppets, and I thought that would be a fun one to read with her. And I actually have a few other books that I got for her, so I'll show you those in a minute. I picked this up, I think, at the thrift store that I was talking about earlier. This one will probably eventually go in our eBay store, but I might like to read it. Tommy Tiger of the Seminoles. This is an old school book. At least it was in a school library somewhere. I don't know. I was showing it to my husband, and it just looks really interesting. And of course, I live in Florida now, which there is the Seminole Nation is here in Florida, but then a part of the Seminole Nation, kind of another branch of it, is in Oklahoma. I grew up in Oklahoma, so both the states I've lived in have Seminoles, and I just thought that I would like to see what that's about. So I picked up a few cozy mysteries, and I did what I have done several times in the past. I didn't consult my list because I was most sure that I did not have this book, and I got home and I already had it. This is one of the Savannah Reed Mysteries, Hide and Sneak by G.A. McKevitt. I did pay $2 for this, which is more than I like to pay, especially if I'm not sure if I have it or not. But I would have sworn that I did not have this one. Anyway, I can trade this in at the bookstore where I work and get a $2 credit on it, which is probably what I will do because I already have it. This one is by Charlotte McLeod. I have a few books from her Kelling and Bitterson series, and this one I don't think is part of any series. It says Tales of Yuletide Murder, Mistletoe Mysteries, collected by Charlotte McLeod. So it has mystery stories from several different authors, which sounds kind of cool, and it's a nice hardcover book, so that sounds fun. And then I forgot to look and see what number this is, but our local library just recently put out all the Christmas books. They usually save up all year long, and they don't put out Christmas-themed books until sometime in October. So this is one of the Paws and Claws mysteries by Krista Davis, A Good Dog's Guide to Murder, and it apparently takes place at Christmas. I'll have to put here what number that is in series. I've only got a couple of those books. I've heard that it's a really fun series, though. All right, I did a little bit of Christmas shopping. I got one book for Katie. It's a kid's book, but anytime I find anything Harry Styles, I usually get it for Katie. And this I found with the books because it's kind of a scrapbook of sorts. And I decided to get this for Katie. We still do stockings at our house. Even though our kids are grown, we still do stockings. And this is a little book. Have y'all ever seen this? It is, it's called The Great Elephant Poo Poo Paper Company Limited. It's 100% recycled and odorless paper products made from elephant poo. So this whole book is made from elephant poop. And it was $1.99. I got it at the thrift store that I was talking about earlier. And I thought, okay, because Katie's such a, animal person, she's studying to be a vet, and I thought, what better thing for her stocking than elephant poop? I'm going to tell her later, hey, how many of your friends can say they got elephant poop in their stocking? So I thought that would be really fun. Then for Emily, she picked out this, I think at that same thrift store, or maybe a different one. I don't know. It's just a little golden book of The Little Mermaid. And then the Aristocats. She loves the Aristocats. And then she found this one, Shaun the Sheep. This is a little chapter book about sheer madness. Now, Shaun the Sheep movies don't have any words. They are all just stop motion animation with no words. So this actually has words. And I said, yay, we can read this and we can actually, this puts words to the story. So that's awesome. And then I got her a few magazine kind of things. She did see all these. Trolls Magazine. This one, I guess, was supposed to cost a little bit more, but I didn't see it, and I don't think he charged me extra for it. SpongeBob coloring book, a Veggie Teens book, And then she didn't see this one. I got this for her. I'm going to give this to her for Christmas. It's a copy of the Lorax, a really nice one. We got this, I think, at a different thrift store. And she's got a lot of Dr. Seuss books, but she does not have a copy of the Lorax. And then a couple of things I got for my husband. He's usually the pumpkin carver in our family, and this one is how to carve words into pumpkins. So that's kind of cool. And then I got him, this will probably also go in his Christmas stocking. It's a Civil War magazine. This one I'm probably not going to give him. I'm probably just going to read it and pass it on to somebody else, but it's a book of dad jokes. And on the back it says, I often tell dad jokes, and when I do, he laughs. So that's cute. But wait, there's more. No sooner did I say, I don't have plans to buy more books. Famous last words. And then I remembered we were going to go to the Bookmobile, and the particular Bookmobile stop that we sometimes go to on Thursdays is very near the thrift store that I've already talked about a couple of times in this video. So I picked up a few books there. I'm not going to show you every single one, just the ones that I'm going to read and possibly keep. And I'll eventually probably list these in my eBay store too. But a couple of them I got just to trade in at the store where I work or to give away or whatever. But anyway, I was excited to find books 2, 3, and 4 in the Mary Poppins series. I didn't realize that there are quite a few books in that series. I was thinking there were maybe 4 or 5, but I think there's like 8 or more. And then another series I didn't realize there were so many of is the Dr. Dolittle series by Hugh Lofting. I think the one that's the Newbery winner, it's the second Newbery winner ever, is The Voyages of Dr. Dolittle. I have read it, and I think it's number 2. This one I looked up, and it's number 8, Dr. Dolittle in the Moon. And I'm interested in reading more of the Dr. Dolittle series. At the time, I didn't take time to look it up and see what number it was. And I might read this out of order, or I don't know. I might try to read the whole series. I'm not sure what I'll do. But anyway, I thought I would go ahead and grab it. And all of these are by the same publisher, and they all look very similar. So I have a feeling they were probably donated to the thrift store by the same person. All right, the last 3 that I'm going to show you, The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner is one that's kind of been on my radar ever since it came out. I think it's about a young boy or young man, maybe a teen, whose father is a minister in a church where they take up serpents. Sounds very intriguing. And this Around the World with Disney, as I kind of flip through it at the store, it has pictures and photos from Disney parks around the world, which I've never been to any of the Disney parks in other countries. I've only been to Disney World in Florida, where I worked for over 30 years, and I've never been to any of the other parks. Many of them I could get in free to with my ID, but of course, I have got to figure out a way to get there. Time and money. And then I picked this up. This is a book about James K. Polk, one of the United States presidents. It's called Frontier President, The Life of James K. Polk. It's by Bill Severn. And I picked this up because I live in Imperial Polk County, Florida, which is named for James Polk. As you can see, it is an old school book, but I thought it might be something my husband would be interested in reading, and maybe myself as well. So I just went ahead and picked it up. So I thought these were all going to be $1. The guy at the thrift store had told me previously that Disney books were more, but that they were marked. This one wasn't marked, and I even made a point of saying this one doesn't have any special markings, and I didn't really add up what he was charging me, but in hindsight, he did charge me $3 for this book, which I thought was a little bit shady that he didn't say, hey, even though it's not marked, I'm still charging you $3. Maybe he didn't feel like that was his place to, because the last time I was there, he charged me for one that was marked, and then the others that he said those should have been marked but weren't. He said, but I'll go ahead and give you, the dollar price. So I guess he felt like he'd already given me a break previously, so he didn't need to give me a break this time. I get it, but I still feel like he should have said something, since that is not what I was expecting to pay. Anyway, I didn't buy it to resell, although I might at some point. I really just got it because I'd like to look at it myself and add it to, my other Disney book collections. But anyway, that's all I plan to show you today, and hopefully I can get this video edited and posted before I have time to buy any more. Although I am going to be visiting at least one library today, so we shall see. Anyway, that's all for now. And I'm back. It is not even the same day as the introduction. It is not even the same day as the last clip. It's the next day. Because after I filmed that last clip yesterday, I went to work. And because I have some credit, I used some of it. And I brought home some more books. So let me show you what they are. So in the last clip, I showed you one of the Dr. Dolittle books by Hugh Lofting. I didn't realize until I looked that one up how big of a series that it is. And the first book is The Story of Dr. Dolittle, which I don't think I have read. Book 2 is the Newbery winner. It was, I think, the second Newbery winner ever. And I've read it, but I have not read, to my remembrance, book 1, which is The Story of Dr. Dolittle. So this edition, we actually had a couple of different copies of it, but this one matched the other edition, so I went ahead and grabbed it. This just came in to the store yesterday, late in the day, and another girl was, doing the intake, and I happened to notice this, and I said, oh, I'll take that one. This is, I'm not even sure what number. It's one of the later ones in the Cupcake Bakery Mysteries by Jen McKinley, Strawberried Alive. This one is, like I said, right near the end, I think, of the series. So it'll be sometime next year whenever we get to this one. So I will have it. And I went ahead and decided to pick this up. This just came in. It's faded on the spine. I don't really collect American Girl books, but I have said to myself that if I ever saw any of the Julie books, I would go ahead and try to get those, because Julie is an American Girl from the 70s. So she's the girl that is very close to my age. She's my era. So I think it would be kind of fun just to see if her experiences match up with my own childhood experiences. So this one is Julie's Journey. I believe the first one is Meet Julie. I'm not sure what number this one is. It usually says on the spine, but the spine is faded. Anyway, I went ahead and grabbed that. And then we were discussing Fern Michaels because she writes from different genres. Anyway, as I was looking up the Sisterhood novels, the Sisterhood books are not romances. They're about an older group of women who basically murder men if they mistreat their women. I wanted to go back and read, maybe read the first one. And I found this book on our shelves that actually has the first 2 books, Weekend Warriors and Payback. And I have not ever read these, to my recollection. I have read 1 or 2 of the books, and I think it's like a 30-something book series. And I've read a couple of them on audio before I even realized that it was a series. And I would kind of like to go back and get the backstory, get it from the beginning. So this is a 2-book set. I will probably listen to them on audio, but I went ahead and grabbed this in case they're not available to me on audio. I'm not sure. And then this was another book that was on the shelves, like on the cart to be shelved. And I decided to go ahead and grab it. This is a textbook of Florida history. It's called A Panorama of Florida, Book 2. Now, I don't think I have Book 1. I think I do have one other school book of Florida history, so maybe. So I have said in the past that since I had to take Oklahoma history in high school, and now that my home is in Florida, I should really learn Florida history. And what better way to do it than through a textbook? I would much rather read Florida history that's geared towards students than, something else that might be more dry, just to get the overview. So I picked this up. So that, I think, is going to be everything for the month of October. Although the month's not over yet, so we shall see. But anyway, that's all I have for right now. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have read any of these books, or if you have a plan to read any of these books, or if you have read them, what you thought of them. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.